This conference will now be recorded.
Raghu, what is the data frame?
It's a collection of variables.
What is that?
Is it like a collection of variables?
No. Mohan, Mohan, Suma,
It's a collection of data with named columns.
collection of distributed data with the named columns. Okay, and it has a better optimization. What is that optimization called? Catalyst
Cattle.
optimization. Catalyst optimization. Okay, so okay, fine. So just everyone is able to access that folder, Spark SQL folder. Okay, so if everyone is open, please try one example in your console. Okay, I want everyone to try this creating data frame examples. I'm not going to explain. I'm not going to execute now. So I want you to execute everyone and see the different ways to create a data frame. I have explained yesterday in detail. I have shown that source code also. Okay. Okay. Let's move on to continue to the yesterday's one. So I have shown till here, and today let's see how to create a data frame. How to create a data frame from reading a file. From reading a file. Okay, so we have seen reading a text file, but now I have a CSV file. Now I have a CSV file with the schema. With the schema. Schema means it has a header. It has a header. So if it has a header, it ultimately it has the named columns, right? It has a named column. Look at here. Spark dot read dot CSV and CSV path and the CSV path.
Hello,
Yeah, hello.
Ravi, your screen is not visible.
Yeah,
Now
I
it is
have
visible.
changed it. So what happened when I open command window, it gets stuck opening it. Spark hyphen. Let me execute line by line here. So when you have a CSV file, you can use the spark.read.csv, and there is an alternative way also for that. No need to be CSV, even if it's just a comma separated or pipe separated or any file, you can read like this spark.read.format. You can say CSV, and you have to provide option. You have to provide option. That option is you are telling that your schema has there. Infer the schema. You take the schema from the existing file. Inferring the schema means you are not providing a schema, but already the file it has a schema. Excuse me. You are asking to create a schema automatically from the file. Next option header. You are saying that header is there. You are saying the header is there, and there is one more option actually. Okay, there is one more option you can specify. A delimiter. It has a delimiter also you can specify. Let me show that in different examples. Okay, so is it up? Yeah, it's up. Let's look at this first one. First, let's go ahead and see agent-cust in Spark batch 710. Spark batch 710 agent-cust. Let's open this. This is the data. Manager name, client gender, client age, response time, satisfaction level. Some kind of one CSV file with a survey. Okay, about some agents. Okay, so I have loaded the data. And there is some flaw here. Just I want to check why it is so it's not loaded properly. Okay, now let me do agent cust df dot print schema C0, C1, C2, C3, C4. Are you guys looking at this screen? What is the C0, C1, C2, C3, and so C5? They are columns, dynamically created columns. Why? Because you have not tell to your Spark saying that hey, it has a header. You take the header names from there. You have not informed to your Spark saying that it has a header and take the header. You have not informed that. So since you have not informed it, so what it assumed, everything whatever is there in the file, it directly assumed it is a columns and data. So instead of this, if I go ahead and write like this, look at the difference. Okay, look at the difference. Actually, it is expecting in the single line. Single line or pipe with the next line. Oh, shit. Now look at it got the column names. Now look at here, it got the column names properly. It got the column names. How? You have explicitly specified here. You infer the schema and it has a header. And there is one more option you provide, like where so you can provide. Suppose if you have a pipe separated, dot delimiter in double quotes, you can give the pipe. And there is one more way of doing it. So why I'm explaining this other way? So don't get confused if you see anywhere. So this is just an option. Look at here, option. See, one option you're passing here. This is option. You're passing one option. There is something called options, plural. You are sending multiple options, like here, like this in a map, like this a map. You're sending a multiple options, a map, separator, comma, header true, infer schema true, then CSV you're loading a file. then CSV you're loading a file. Let me show you that. Now look at this schema. Any difference in both schemas? The same. Both are same. Okay. So there are different ways to pass your arguments, or not arguments, I can say options to while reading a file. So I have specified here CSV, right? You can also use the load. Okay, load also you can use. Okay, these are the when you have a CSV with the header. If you don't have a header, you have to say there is no header, false. So if you don't have a header, you have to say header false. And infer schema true. And how will you pass it? By default it will not get the header names, it will get the C0, C1, C2, C3 like that. Then you can pass your own schema. Look at here, I'm passing my own schema here. I'm passing my own schema here. And also, even though the header is there, I'm ignoring that header, I'm taking my schema. Okay, even though it has a header, I'm ignoring that header and I'm taking my own schema.
So in that case, the infer schema should be false, right? You making it as true, and again you are specifying user defined schema.
You can make it false.
So in this case, you are inferring the schema from the CSV and specifying your own defined schema, right? So which schema it will take now?
Whatever I have passed explicitly, it will take that. Let me show you both. The one's making true and another one is making false. No, see here, actually, I was tried with the false and the same kind of questions raised by some student, and I actually changed it. That was the reason it's there in the comment. Okay, so what's going? So it's not find the schema, right? So first it has to be there. It has to import this. Schema string is ready. Now, which schema it has taken, which I have created or which it has already. If you see here, the schema which I have provided is taken. The schema which I have provided is taken. Okay, so let me do one more thing. The schema which I have provided. Okay, is this clear?
Yeah.
Okay, next example. So here also you are providing your schema. I'm not specifying the schema. It is single line. I think I do have a single line of this, but where I'm providing the schema here. So same. So I removed the schema. I didn't specify the schema, but I have given the schema here. And I have used the load. As I said, you can use the load or CSV also. I use the load. I specified my external schema and I have loaded it. Okay. So surely people will ask an interview, read a CSV file, do some transformations. When they ask read a CSV file or read a file, they want to see how confidently you write a code. Okay. You should not like, scared by if anyone asks you to write a code. Okay. Next, reading a JSON file. I do have an example for the JSON file. Let me show that to people on claim JSON. People claim. This is the people JSON. Just name and age. It does not have a name. Okay, name and age. And there is another one. Claim. This is the bigger complex JSON. It's a bigger and a complex JSON. Okay. Why I'm calling it a complex JSON? When you see this JSON, it's very simple. One row, second row, third row. It's very simple. You don't have any complex data types in it, like array, again in a collection of JSON and all, right? But here, look at here, this is the JSON, this is the parent column. And under that you have a fill date, refill date, all these things. And also when you go little down, these are all under one column, guys. You need to understand, these are all under one column. And if you go little down, you see here, array is there. Client, it has array. Inside the array, you have another JSON. Like this, you have an array of JSON. So if we find this kind of JSON, we'll call it as a complex JSON. We'll call it as a complex JSON. Look at this an array. This lot of subfields are there. There's a lot of subfields are there. Okay. Look at here. So let's load this and see. But we have a separate session for that. I think I do have a separate session for reading the JSON, read CSV, read JSON files. Yeah. But anyway, here as part of the created data frame, I'm just showing you. It's a very simple JSON where age and name has been taken. Are you guys following me? Any questions? No questions. Let's move on to next way of reading it. Spark.read.json. There are different ways to do it. Let me execute this also for to show the scheme to show the schema how it will appear. Okay. Now here actually it is showing the corrupt underscore record. So corrupt underscore record, it means that it is not in a proper format. So if whenever you load the JSON data into the data frame, if you find the corrupt underscore record, it means the data is not a good data. Okay, some the format or something might have missed it. Okay, we'll see in detail about how the JSON will be okay. Okay, so let's move on to next different ways to create a data frame. And this is the JDBC. Okay, I think I do have this one. So let me check first whether my services are up and running in the MySQL services. Let me up my MySQL server. I mean, actually, by default it will be running, but I have made it as a manual. So let me see my MySQL service. It's a manual. So start. Okay. So my service is running now. If it is not running, if I go ahead and try this one, it will not work. Okay. So now it's running, it will work. Since it is in a different lines, I need to make it a single line. Let's go ahead and connect to RDBMS from Spark and read the data. I'm trying to connect to RDBMS. I'm reading the data. It is established the connection and started reading the data, category ID, category name, and all the stuff.
Ravi, show the climb DF data frame once.
It is a corrupt underscore record, right? It's not loaded properly, no? You want me to show print schema? It's a
No,
corrupt underscore record.
do
If it
show.
is show, yeah, I'm doing it. See?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me show my JDBC DF because I have connected to RDBMS. Okay. Let me see JDBC DF. DF spelling is small f, not the capital F. Okay. So let me show the table also for that. Guys, I'm little. Let me start this. Here, category I'm querying no. category I'm querying, right? So category, let's go ahead and see columns, category ID, category name, this. Go ahead and say select star from category. You have this data. Let me do the same here. Oh, this category is something different, or that one is something different. Then which one is connected? This action, music, blah 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 is there. Which one is connected? Category ID, category. This is a retail underscore DB. This is retail underscore DB, not Sakila. No, not the Sakila. Retail underscore DB. Sorry, I shown the wrong database. This one. So categories, not the category. We put the database name. Retail underscore DB dot categories. Yeah, these are the football, soccer, football, basketball, blah blah blah. Okay, it means what I'm trying to show here is from Spark you can able to connect to your data RDBMS system, and you can able to read the data. You're able to connect to your flat file CSV file. You're able to read the data. You're able to connect to the JSON file and able to read the data, as well as a Parquet and Avro. Also, you will be able to connect to them and they will be able to write it. Is this clear? Let's try to remember the syntax, guys. I want you to remember the syntax. JDBC, because people ask in interview. It's a very simple one. It's a very simple one. First, you need to have your URL. This is very much common, guys. I think whoever has gone through our SQL scoop, they will recognize easily. This is the JDBC URL. This is the JDBC URL. To connect to RDBMS system from any application, to connect from RDBMS system from any application, it can be Java, it can be .NET, it can be any other application. You should have a URL. That's called a URL. When you say URL, it is like if it is a Oracle, you will be having a different driver, a different URL. If it's a MySQL, if it's a Postgres, if it's a MariaDB, so whatever it is. So you'll be having a different URL. And so if you're using JDBC, it will be JDBC. If you're using ODBC, it will be ODBC. And here the local host, why I have used a local host? Because my application, my Spark application and my database both are in the same mission. So it works. Local host will work. Let's assume that my RDBMS is there in the different server. I need to specify the IP address here and port number where it is running. Okay, then driver, what type of driver you are using? For every vendor, like every RDBMS vendor, they will be having their own driver. So MySQL has its own driver, Oracle has its own driver, Postgres has its own driver. So you will be having your own driver and username and password to connect to that database, and the database table name. Database anyway you have specified here, so you really no need to specify database explicitly, and you just specify the table name. and the load is the one to load. Any questions here? Any questions so far? Okay, let's see some basic transformations. Any questions so far? Loading the data, creating a data frame.
Ravi, if I
It can,
want to trigger a SQL query, then is there a way?
I have told you yesterday, right? You can do that on the data frame. How to do that?
No, on the data frame, yeah, I remember. Like here with with this format.
Okay, okay. While selecting here
Yeah,
itself,
here
right?
itself. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, the option is available. I'll tell you how it is. Um, I think dot select. I think dot select. Mm, you can directly apply the condition here, Rishabh. The syntax I'm not able to recollect now. I think dot select you can apply, or 1 second. There is the option for it. Let me open the real-time code. Let me open the real-time code. We can actually do that. This is a real-time code. It's not a program. It's a real-time code which we have designed for the solution. What is the start session? Database name, spark.reader format options, load dot select only. Dot select only. What are the columns you want to select? Okay, then you can apply. Is the dot select is on top of the data frame? Okay. And you can write your dot where condition and all other stuff you can write. There is a pause. Other option also should be available. I have seen somewhere. I'll check that and revert on this. The where we can pass only our SQL query and get the data. Okay, I'll revert by next session, Rishabh. Is it fine? Or we can
Sure.
no. Let me see. I'll check and come back on this. Where we can. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to dot select only. That's good. I do remember something. Option. So here, this is how you'll connect to RDBMS and will read the data. Okay. So if you guys have comfort with creating a data frames, then I'll go with some data frame basic transformations. Some basic transformations. So there are a lot of transformations, but I'll show you a few of them. You can actually let me do one. Just type this. Spark.sql.data frame, right? Okay, I'll show you the source code of it actually. I'm just looking for the source code. Here, data set. Data reader. These were the options I was talking about earlier. Okay, so how we will read data frame. Okay, this is I'm showing you out of the box. Please try to look at here and try to understand. Okay, other things like these basic transformations and all on the fly you will be learning. So whenever the requirement come, like a show or take, count, head, and other stuff. But no, these are the something interesting part which we need to understand how internally the spark.read.json or spark.read. This stuff are options or how it is working. They're all methods actually we are supplying. Look at here, format is one of the method. Schema is one of the method. I have used the schema and I have passed the schema, right? And option is one of the method. Option, you are specifying your key and you are specifying your value, right? And other option, look at here, these are all the different options you are passing. And options, so far we have seen option and passing the key comma value, right? Here something you are passing options and you are passing a set of it's a collection, right? So these are all the different methods available in this. Load also is one of the method. Load, so it's a simple load with the path. It's a simple load and load with the path. Okay, and load with the path string. JDBC, I have used JDBC just now. Okay, what is this method? JDBC URL, lower bound, upper bound, number of partitions, connection properties. And let me see, is there any option here where I can pass a string? But these are all, this is the regular one which we use. JDBC table name, predicates, connection properties. Connection properties are nothing but this one, right? Connection properties are nothing but this one. Let me show you. These are the connection properties. Map or something we create, right? URL database. These are all together we'll call as the connection properties. Okay. So JSON can be created from JSON RDD also. RDD of string you can actually pass to JSON and you can convert to JSON. I'll show you that in one of the example. Okay, CSV. So whatever we have seen, they're all, you see, all of them are actually methods. Actually, the methods which look at the Parquet, ORC. This file format we didn't talk yet. File formats I'll right after completing this Spark SQL, I'll cover one session in the all file format: RC, ORC, sequence, Parquet, um, Avro. So all these things I'll cover in one session. Text file. Okay, so these are the different options are available. Excuse me, to to create your data frame. Okay, any questions? I'm looking for one API. Okay, I think it's not there here. Okay, let me do one thing. Control F2, F12, F12, F12. Okay, here look at these things, guys. Show any for check the not null. Okay, so drop the rows contains the null values. Like this will drop. Okay, show NA, I think here start statistics, join the different options available with the join, and there is another method, cross join. We have a separate session for the join altogether. I have a separate program also for that. Okay, let me show some more options I'm actually looking for. They're all coming joins only. Sort, order by column. COL means call. COL is nothing but call. It represents the column. As alias name, alias select dot select. Whatever we are doing, a dot select. Select expression, where you can pass the expression inside the selection. Okay, where you can pass your expression inside the selection. So these are all the different methods available in your existing data frame. These are all not something new. Let me minimize this. I've shown in the source code actually. Go back to our the basic transformations, data frame basic transformation. So whatever we are applying, like a show, like a take, all these things are coming from a data frame API. Dataset dot class dataset dot class file. Your data frame is nothing but a collection of dataset. We'll talk about that in detail about it, how the dataset is converted as a data frame. So, but what are the methods we are seeing, select and load or other things, they are already existing one, we are making use of them. Okay, where they exist, they have the respective API classes are there, like a dataset class, or you can say uh, uh, Spark session class, or you can say data frame writer, data frame reader. So different classes are available. In that class, these methods are there. Where condition, I was talking about this where. You can pass your where condition, and there is something called when. There is something called with column. Okay, there is something called with call. Let me show you that also. With aggregation, you are passing an aggregation method. Aggregate. Look at here, I need to do sum of some values, or I need to do count of something. So I can use the aggregate function. AGG limit. If you want pass only limited number of values you want to bring, you can use a dot limit. Union all, union, intersect, except. It's like minus, except, sample, right? Let me show you a with column. There is something called with column. With column where you can add element, you can update the element. Okay, explode. Okay, this is another important, guys. Explode. So explode is something when you have a array of elements in a single column. Array of elements in a single column. We want to make it a multiple rows. We'll go with explode with the column. With the column is the one where we'll specify the column name and where we'll specify the value. Okay, this column name, if it is a new column name, it will get added. If it is an existing column name, it will get updated. Okay, let's jump into the basic the transformations, and you guys later can open the dataset.class. You guys can open this file in your IntelliJ. If you're using Maven, you will be able to see every source code, every jar file source code, like a Spark core, Spark SQL, or XML, or whatever it is. Every library you can open and you can see the source code of it if you are using Maven. So that's auto convert. It automatically convert your .class files. If you see this is the .class files actually. They're all under the jar file. These are all under the jar file. This is not something I have written. It is already there inside the jar. I have opened one of the file from it. So dataset I have opened. Similarly, if you open the data frame writer, if you have some methods in here to write, you have some methods to write, right? These are all like an existing classes. These are all existing classes. So that's what whenever I have a doubt, or whenever I don't know some functionality, or I want to know some syntax, what are the parameters I need to pass a method. So now normally I'll go through this source code and I'll try to understand. And also if I don't know some the purpose of the some method, let's say the format, the purpose of the format I don't know, so I'll go ahead and read it here. I'll go ahead and read it here. Okay, so try this one, you'll learn more things. Okay, so try this way, you learn more things. So let's jump into basic transformations. Okay, so here, look at here, guys. I'm trying to read a simple JSON, which is a JSON is a cars.json file. So where this cars.json file, so far we didn't talk about this. Now we have in your project structure, you'll be having a main. This is a project and you'll be having src folder, everyone aware of this, and inside the src you'll be having main folder. Under the main, whatever the folder you create, like a java, if you are dealing with the java, you'll be having a java source directory. If you're dealing with the scala, you'll be having a scala source directory. Along with that, there will be something called resources. This resources actually contains any files you want to give, any files like any property files or any YAML files, any file, ideally any file, okay, which you will be using in your project. If you want to keep those files, you can ideally keep it under the resources. If you keep it under the resources, those files can be read directly here like this, or you can use there is something called resource API. There are some APIs are available where you can read directly files from the resource that if you just specify the name, it's enough, you can read it. Okay, here I'm specifying this is my JSON path, cars.json. Let me open that cars.json. This is the one. So you can double click on that, it will get open here in same IntelliJ file itself. This is my cars.json file. I have an item number, name, speed, and weight. Okay, I have a item number, name, speed, and weight. So there are some duplicates here. So repeated, I mean copy pasted. Twice it is copy pasted, nothing else. Okay, let's go ahead and see what are the transformations we're applying on this. This is the path. Path is just a string. This is not something, it's just a string object, spark.read.json path. Okay, now if I want to execute this, first what I have to do, copy the path of this. What I have to do here, if I want to test in the console, val path equal to, I have to give this path here, otherwise it will not recognize, no. This is the path. Wow, because it has to give double. Okay, the path has been considered as a string. So here instead of file path, I'll just give a path. Instead of file path, I'll just give a path. Now my data frame is ready. Here. Okay, I can go ahead and apply my data frames transformations now. Look at here. The first one is an action. It's not a what I can say transformation. Show is an action. So what this show will do, the show will show the first 20 records of your data frame. First 20 records of the data frame. The show has a different forms. Look at here. If you want to see the rows and data frame in the tabular form, and this is following command. One is a show number, how many records you want, you can specify false. So if any lengthy string in a column, it's actually okay. Example is this corrupt underscore record. Look at here, only showing dot, right? So if I want to see the complete string, so let me show you that. Claim df, right? Show of false, spelling claim df. It's CLAIM capital D capital F. It's a capital D and capital F. Look at here. It is showing the full length of full length in the in the row, in the column, full string. But here it shows only top 20 strings. I mean, first 20 rows. I can say first 20 rows. When you don't pass the false, it will show like this. Only few characters will show, not the complete string. Similarly, you have a number you can pass. Let's say I want to see first 2, then false, like this. I want to see first 5. Don't get confused here. I say 2, it's shown only one record. Your curly braces also comes into one row. This one also comes in one row. That's was the reason. Okay, like this. If you don't specify the false, this will be the output. Okay, so that's the difference between the false and with the false without false. By default, it's true. The meaning is by default it's true. You really don't need to specify that. By default, it's true. You really no need to specify that. Okay. Any questions so far about show? So let me show you that also. Different forms of the show. Control F12. Just go to show. These are the different forms of the show. Show number. Okay. You can pass the show number of rows. Okay. Look at here, displays the data set in the tabular form. Strings more than 20 characters will be truncated. Strings more than 20 characters will be truncated. And all cells will be aligned right. For example, some example this. Okay. And number of rows are 20. You can look at here, show with the 20. And this is another way. Just to show. Here I'm specifying the number, how many rows I want. But here I'm not passing anything. So it will display the top 20. First to 20, not top in the sense, don't assume like top 20 salaries, top 10 salaries. No, not that. First to 20 records. Okay. Next, show truncate. Whether to truncate. I have shown you, right? Whether to pass a false or true. If you pass false, it will not truncate. If you pass true, it will truncate. Truncate means this one. So just now I shown you, right? Only limited characters it will show. Okay. Next, show rows and truncate. Yeah, these are the different options with the show. Show number and truncate. Oh, truncate number also there. I don't know. I didn't aware of this. What is truncate number? Number of rows to show set to more than 0. Truncate string to truncate characters and little cell. Let me do truncate with a number. Normally, I know the truncate is a Boolean variable. Let me say. Okay, it's showing 100 characters at least. Okay, I can pass. I can give like this. Oh, 21, 30. Okay, those many number of characters you want to display. Okay, any questions? So after show is an action, it's not a transformation. Show is an action. Next you have something called take, and take n, number of records you want to specify. When you say take, based on the number you specify, it will give those many number of records. So if you want to know more about the take, go here, say Control F12, take. So here returns the first n rows in the data set. Running take requires moving data into applications driver process, and doing so with a very large n can crash your driver process with the out of memory exception. If you use the take, whatever the number you specify here, the data will be written to whom? A driver program. So let's see with the show whether the show will do that or not. Show will not do. Show actually will not return to the data frame. I think it will just display in the console. It will just display in the console. It will not return a value. It is meant to display the console. It's not going to return a value. Okay, so that's the difference between the take and show. Let me do it here. I'll say not on this RDD. I have created RDD, which is a cars RDD. So where I want to do something next. Cars data frame, not RDD. Created cars. Just make sure that the spelling and the camera case. It's a case sensitive, right? That's the reason. Does it display in the console? It is not displayed in the console. If you want to display that in the console, sorry, it will just already return, right? I don't think we can apply the show here. Why? Can anyone tell me why I cannot apply show here? Okay, this is a good question. So why it's not show is not working here? Show is works on data frame, right? But this is not data frame. No, your take returns a row. Your take returns row, array of row. Your take returns array of row, not a frame. Your take is not going to return a data frame. Your take is an action which is going to return array of rows. If you look at here, these are array of rows. Why null is coming? I didn't see this. Why first column age is null? Because in our data frame, in our data, you have one small extra field in some of the columns, and these two. You have a age. Rest all does not have a age. Rest all does not have a age. Only these two columns has a age. That is the reason only these two got age. This is called inferring the schema based on your data. Inferring the schema based on your data. Okay, and also if you don't specify your own schema in your own order, it will take alphabetical order. It will take alphabetical order, the columns order, no matter what is there in your data. See, here it is something different: item, name, speed, and weight, and age. But it took alphabetical order. If you don't specify it, if you don't specify your own schema explicitly, if you specify your own schema explicitly, it will go with that order only. Whatever the order you create a schema here, whatever the order the schema you created here, whatever the order the schema you created here, it will go with the same order. Okay, otherwise it will go with the alphabetical order. Okay, any questions? Any questions? So your take returns array of elements, you can use the for each. Your take returns array of elements, you can use the for each. You can use for each. Any doubt so far? Any doubt? Any questions? Next, you have a count. You have a head. There are some more transformations are there and actions are there, which I'm going to explain on the next session. If you guys have any questions, please ask me. Okay, take it as an assignment. It's not assignment. You can easily get this answer for this. I have a data frame. I want to get only list of columns. I don't want to data. I want to get only columns. I want to get only columns. I don't want to get anything else. So how we can achieve that? Look for that. No? You can easily do that. Okay, so these are the few of the transformations which we'll see in detail in the next session. If you guys have any questions, please ask me now. else we can leave for the day.
Ravi, do we have the error in the JSON, or does it has tree structure, because of that it's
No,
failing?
error in the JSON.
Okay. So it has a tree structure, right? So how the DF will look like? So it will have only one column with all the tree structure, or
It will be having one column with a nested schema. Have you heard about the nested schema? One column will be there, under that one more column will be there, under that one more column will be there. One column will have multiple columns. That's a nested schema. Okay, I got your question. Okay, let me show you that example for you. But anyway, that is there in the one of the example we'll see in detail. Okay. Schema. Did I see anything called schema here anywhere? This is raw JSON, right? This is also actually nested, not the raw JSON. I have a schema. Okay. Schema nested JSON. You'll get like this. This is column 1. Inside the one more column. Inside that another columns. This is another column. Inside that another columns. So this is another column. Inside these are these columns. Look at here. If I want to get the context code, pharmacy claim dot pharmacy identifier dot pharmacy identifier version dot identifier dot context code. This is a schema. Like this it will come. If the JSON is proper, you will get a schema like this. And you can also see the data types. Struct, string. If it's a nested, it's a struct. You understand, ma?
yeah, Ravi.
Okay. If since that nested JSON, the JSON is nested, so your schema will come like that. So how it has to be navigate? You have to get element by element. For example, this is the same data which we actually claim data. This is the claim data actually. Okay. So when you read this your JSON, right? When you read your JSON here, right? After reading the JSON, so don't get confused why you have giving RDD here. I told you, no, JSON has one of the here, not this one, here in one of the JSON take RDD. JSON take RDD as an argument, right? Your JSON is taking as an argument, right? That example is this. My JSON is taking an RDD, okay, and I'm converting into data frame. The single column will be there. That's the main. Only one column will be there. Instead of root, here I have a root, right? Here I have a root, right? Instead of root, I'll call it as a main. Okay. Later, when I want to extract the fields, I want to extract the version, I want to extract the component ID, I want to extract the sequence number, status code. These things I need to extract, right? So look at here. GetJSON object is one of the UDF. GetJSON object is one of the UDF. We'll talk in detail about later. It's a predefined method. It's a predefined method. If you don't want to use the predefined method, you can use like this. Look at here, select dot select your root column dot subcolumn dot subcolumn. If I want to get that claim, this is the one. So in our select, this is what you will give: pharmacy claim dot pharmacy identify dot component 1. Let me show you what is this here. Pharmacy claim identify dot component 1. This is the one. So if I want to get the specific column, suppose if I want to get this context code, parent column dot subcolumn dot, it has any subcolumn? Yes, it has a pharmacy version subcolumn dot identifier dot identify dot prescriber ID. I need to go in this much deeper. I need to go this much deeper. This is called JSON path. You can call it as a JSON path, not the file path. Okay, JSON column path it is schema. Either you can use directly like this in the select query. This is your select in the select query, or you can do like this. This is also select only, but it's a select expression. The select expression get JSON object. They're passing it. These are also JSON paths. They're all JSON path. Look at here. Is this clear?
Yes, Ravi.
So this is how we, what I can say, will extract the fields from the nested JSON schema, nested JSON. If you have a nested JSON like this, so if you want to extract this field, facility ID, it will be like this: pharmacy claim dot, I mean parent. Don't it will not be always pharmacy claim, right? It will be your column name. So pharmacy claim dot pharmacy claim identify dot pharmacy claim version dot where it is version dot care facility dot facility ID. Okay, like that. So you have to go how much deeper it is. So you have to go that much deeper. There is no straightforward. As per my knowledge, there is no straight extraction from such kind of data frames. You have to do JSON path only. Even XML also same. XML also same kind of. If you have a simple XML, no problem. You will be having a complex XML. When you have a complex XML, you have to pass the XPath. We'll call XPath. So XPath is also same. Parent column, child column, child column, child column, like that. Okay. Any questions, guys? Actually, I have taken more time today.
Yeah, I just have one question. In real time, which all the source can generate this JSON?
Your voice is not clear, ma. Could you please repeat? Oh, I hear somewhere. Okay. Please go ahead and try. Sorry,
JSON file.
guys. This with me only, or everyone is the same issue? She's asking some question, but I'm not able to get it. If anyone get, please repeat.
Same issue, Ravi, same issue.
Okay. Varsha, you were trying to say something more, but I'm not able to. Which all the source systems can generate a JSON files. That is, we cannot say no. We cannot say your source, your input is JSON. If your input is JSON, what you need to do? How to read? Which are the source means there are so many sources. So many web applications are there, or some Java applications are there. It can be anything, ma. We cannot comment on that. It can be any system. So we cannot specify who will give the JSON and all. So JSON is a common and lightweight data file with the schema, right? So most of the source systems are generating the schema. Which are the source systems? So we cannot say anything. Your mobile application, whatever Android or iOS, whatever you're using, the logs can be generated as a JSON, or something can be generated as a JSON. Your web application, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, we cannot say that. Okay, ma?
Okay.
We cannot talk about the source system, what they can generate, but we can, once this JSON file is as given as an input to you, what you can do, how you can read. That's with the help of the spark.read.json, or any other way. Or you can read it as a normal RDD and can convert as a data frame. You can do that. Okay, that's it for today. We'll connect in the next session and see in detail. Most of the interview questions we already covered as the core Java part. about memory, about executors, about driver mode, deployment modes, master, and other stuff. But here you will be learning the syntaxes of the different transformations on structured data. Okay, thank you guys.